So we are having a session. The first the title of this session is Global Trade in the Fourth Industrial Era. Let me introduce myself. I am Dr. KyungHee. I am currently serving Int'l University Asia Pacific School of Logistics and the moderator of today's session. We have three presenters today. The first presentation is about global value chain participation. Second one is about FDI, and the third one is about innovation performance. So the first presentation is about research on the impact of Asia's GVC participation and position on its domestic employment from KyungHee University, ZHICHUN. Yeah, are you ready to present your research?
Yes.
Okay, let's begin.
Okay, thank you. Just wait a moment. Good morning, everyone. So I will make the presentation about research on the impact of ASEAN GVC participation and the position on its domestic employment. So here are the contents. Part 1, research background. So what about the status of ASEAN countries' labor force? So from the table 1, we can see that ASEAN countries are rich in labor resources. The top 3 countries in the labor force participation rate from 2005 to 2019 are Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. In 2019, the unemployment rate of most ASEAN countries is below 3%. The employment status of labor force is good and the labor utilization rate is high. The labor force participation rate of men and the women in ASEAN countries are relatively high. Among them, the labor force participation rate of men in Indonesia, Malaysia, Myanmar, and the Philippines is much higher than that of women. What is the global village? What is the GVC? It refers to the cross-regional coordinated activities such as the production and the supply of goods and service, intermediate inputs, marketing, distribution, and after sales. It includes both industry-level value chains and the global-level operations. So GVC position index just measure whether a country is located upstream or downstream in the value chain. GVC participation index is used to weigh a country's participation in the value chain. Using the following formula, I calculated the GVC's participation and the position. So from the 2 figures, we can see that the domestic added value of the 10 ASEAN countries is generally higher than that the foreign added value, and the trade export value of the 10 ASEAN countries is mainly derived from domestic added value. So this is show that most of the domestic value added of the 10 ASEAN countries are exported to third countries as intermediate products. In addition, the foreign added value of the 10 ASEAN countries is generally less than 50%, which shows that the ASEAN countries' supply chains is a higher dependent on foreign intermediate products. Part 2, literature review. There are not many previous literatures on the impact of GVC participation and the position in the 10 ASEAN countries on their own employment. So this paper summarized related research from 3 perspectives. Research purpose. This paper mainly focuses on the 10 ASEAN countries, analyzing the impact of participation and the position of the 10 ASEAN countries' global value chains on the overall employment. male employment and female employment in the country, so as to explore whether ASEAN country is like other developing countries. Research questions. So there are three research questions about this paper. The first is to analyze the overall employment rate of the 10 ASEAN countries and the current status of male and female employment rates in each country. The second is to analyze the trends of patterns of the 10 ASEAN countries participating in GVC. Finally, it studies the influence of GVC participation and the position in the 10 ASEAN countries on their own employment. It also analyzes which factors have a greater impact on the employment and of the 10 ASEAN countries, and it puts forward a constructive strategy to increase the employment rate of the 10 ASEAN countries. Part 3, research model and a research methodology. Research model. In order to analyze the impact of ASEAN countries' participation and the position in global value chains on its employment, the model of this paper are established based on the models of some scholars. Research methodology. This paper used GIS regression analysis to study the impact of the ASEAN global value chains, division of labor on its employment, including male and female employment from 2005 to 2016. Here is a description of variables and the data. Part 4, empirical analysis results. So first one is about Pearson correlation analysis. From the results of the correlation analysis, the participation and the position of GVC have a negative relationship with the employment rate of ASEAN countries. Next one is about pooled OLS regression and the fixed regression or fixed effects regression. So here, pooled OLS and the fixed effect. The results of pooled OLS regression and the fixed effect analysis on the model shows that the p-value of the F-test is 0. So the null hypothesis is strongly rejected. Therefore, fixed effect is considered to be significantly better than pooled OLS regression and should be allowed. Each individual has its own interceptor. So this situation indicates that the model has individual effects and the pooled OLS regression should not be used. Next one is about a Hausman test. The Hausman test is used to determine whether to establish a fixed effect model or random effects model. After testing, the fixed effects model is more appropriate. So from the test results, we can see that GVC participation and the GVC position, which have no significant effect on the male employment rate. After other variables have passed the significance test. This is related to the social and the cultural background of ASEAN countries, because ASEAN countries are dominated by male employment, and the male employment rate is generally high. So joining the global value chain has a little effect on the male employment rate. Part 5, conclusions and the limitations. Conclusions. So first, the division of labor in the global value chains has a significant impact on the overall employment rate of ASEAN, and the participation of GVC in ASEAN countries has increased year by year. GVC position has a significant impact on the overall employment rate of ASEAN and the employment rate of women due to historical and cultural cultural factors, GVC position has no significant impact on the employment rate of men in ASEAN. Second, the development of technology has reduced the demand for labor. Factors such as human capital, GDP, infrastructure construction, and openness have all contributed to ASEAN's domestic employment rate. Third, participation in global value chains has no significant impact on male employment rate in ASEAN countries. This is because the ASEAN countries themselves are dominated by male labor, and the male employment rate in all countries is generally higher. Whether to join the global value chain has no effect on the male employment rate in ASEAN countries. Finally, GVC participation in ASEAN countries is generally not higher, and the forward participation is higher than the backward participation. Constructive suggestions. So based on the research conclusions, the following recommendations are put forward. Here, I just emphasize one point. Intensify opening to the outside world, improve infrastructure construction, adhere to the mass entrepreneurship, expand the employment space through innovation, and accelerate the development of service industries and emerging industries to expand the employment capacity so as to create good conditions for national employment. Here is the limitations. Since the database only provides data up to 2016, so the trend from 2017 to 2020 has not been empirically studied. So in the future, we will conduct in-depth research on forward and backward participation in GVC participation in ASEAN 10 countries. Okay, so much thank you for your listening.
All right, thank you. Thanks for your presentation. I think it is a very interesting topic to examine the employment rate and also the participation to the GVC.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you very much.
I have a question. So when do you think the data will be issued? So you said that the data is from it's like 5 years old, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So when do you when is going to be published after the data after the 2016? Do you think? You don't know? I'm just asking a question because I thought that if the data is more new, then you may find out another interesting result. If you don't know, it is okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Do you have any questions from the floor? 질문 있으신가요? All right. If there is no question, thank you very much. We're gonna move to the second presentation.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So the next topic is just about brand reputation with FDI impact from LING. All right. Okay, welcome.
Hi.
So let's begin.
Good morning, and I'm Int'l from KHCOC. The topic of my presentation today is the analysis of Korea's economic policy direction and the strategy using text mining. As we know, digitalization and the global value chains has been more and more important since the fourth industrial revolution. However, COVID-19 has changed the global situation, and the digitalization and the GVC has become one of the important economic policies of many countries. For the 2021 Korea's economic policy direction, the target of Korean export will reach $607 billion. The Korean government could be divided into the economic recovery of major trading partners and expanding demand for IT and the new industries. In terms of investment policies, the Korean government is mainly included to expanding eco-friendly investment in new technologies in the IT industry. But the date such as text on report is not easy to identify panels. So hence we exploit text mining to analyze the date like text of the report and conclude the enter industries of promoting countries overseas. Here we will give the following questions. The first one is what is the direction of the Korea's trade investment policy, and the second one is what are the major issues and the market in evolution by country, and the third one, what is the business environment by country, the fourth one, what is the enter strategy by country. The Enter Strategy report published by Kotra in 2021 used in this research have analyzed the market evolution and the major issues, business environment, strategy to advance of some countries, which including a total of 82 objects. The research use text mining by frequency analysis and classification and network analysis in text mining. At first, we perform topic divide on strategy report conclusion to get probability of the topic. The policy was performed on the policy conclusion to get the policy topic. Finally, analyze the trend and the gaps of strategy and the policy. According to the Kotra report, we can see the key topics about Southeast ASEAN is COVID-19 and key topic is digital and GVC and out of China and RCEP and infra, big market, and eco-friendly energy. Yes. In North America, a key topic is domestic market and China and live consumer. Topic of Europe is employment rate and e-commerce, 5G, AI, UK, lockdown, eco-friendly, and home economics. Topic of China is US, GVC, and USOC. It means mega city, and dual circulation, and domestics demand and investment. Topic of Japan is digital and Olympics and video service, OTT and GVC and e-commerce. Hence, the data such as text is not easy to identify panels. Therefore, it's possible to identify the difference from the panels by analyzing the text of the report. So, it's key market and the industry in Int'l strategy report. Report and including the business environment analysis of promoting industries and countries. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. It was about big data analysis, but regarding the topics in different continents. Okay, do we have any questions from the floor?
So what is the major the difference in across the market, because you studied the several market, southern Southeast Asia, the North America, and Japan and other countries. So you drive some key concept on the economic policy of Korea. So what is the major difference across the country? Okay, you have more.
Yes.
So especially as you showed your slide, for the Southeast Asian country, the digital transformation is an important keyword. So usually we assume the Southeast Asian countries are the labor-intensive the industry areas, but your analysis focusing on the digital transformation. So what make your analysis drive this conclusion, digital transformation? So what is why is the transformation is important in the Southeast Asia? Okay, you have to study.
네.
It was a difficult question. All right. Okay. Thanks very much. I expect more established, more good research next time, next conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. We're gonna move to the third presentation, which is about innovation performance with the relationship with high educated migrant population. From KyungHee University, QIULU. Let's begin the third presentation. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is ZHICHUN. I'm very appreciated to the opportunity to be with you today. And the subject of my presentation is effect of high educated migration on innovation performance in China. And now my presentation is in 5 parts. And firstly, I will tell you about the introduction. And the first part is change of innovation. Innovation is become an important factor of the sustainable growth and the survival of a country or a region in the fourth industrial revolution. Through innovation, new products and service can be developed, commercialized, and the value can be increased. In addition, new regional markets can be created to maintain a sustainable competitive advantage. The importance of intellectual property rights is generally impressed, and the technical advantage of the region is secured through the development of new technologies. Technological innovation can be explained the level of competence of a country and the business, especially in developing countries, where theoretical and practical research are important. And the second is human capital and innovation. Previous studies have shown that international factors influencing regional innovation include research and development, regional education levels, and economic development structures. Recently, human capital has attracted attention as an important factor affecting the innovation performance. Economics view human capital as one of the strategic resources and determine the regional superiorities. And the second is the previous research limitations. Most literature studies have focused on immigrants from developed countries, and relatively little literature has been written on innovation and migration in emerging countries such as China. And studies show that many skilled immigrants have an impact on corporate innovation, while few studies show that highly educated immigrants have an impact on regional innovation performance. In particular, the adjustment effect of immigrants on innovation performance and economic structure transformation also has research value. So the purpose of this paper is to examine the effect of high educated migrants on innovation performance in China. The effect of high educated and low educated migrants on regional innovation and regulatory role of the economic structures were studied respectively. So now I will tell you about the literature review. The literature review is in 3 parts. The first part is on study is a study on the relationship between human capital and innovations. Here, following the research of key commenters, innovation was regarded as a result of the interaction between human capital and the knowledge leakage, and achievements created by continuous learning were considered. According to the theory of economic resources, companies can create a sustainable competitive advantage over competitors if they have value, skilled, and different resources to imite and replace. And the second is a study on mobile population and innovation. There are three parts over here. First one is for individual. Second is for company, and the third one is for education. For individual, the papers examine the crowding out effect of technical immigrants on local residents using data on the number of immigrants and the number of patents awards per capita during 1995 to 20, and the results suggest that skilled immigrants may have spillover effect on local residents while not having a resource effect on local residents. For companies, through empirical analysis, the paper showed that the effect of immigrants on corporate innovations is more pronounced than resident, and the marginal effect of highly educated immigrants on innovation explains is higher than resident. And for education, the studies showed the effect of immigrants with PhD education abroad on American innovation through USA policy. According to the result, the US R&D structure can promote innovation capabilities by investing in R&D and expanding researchers, but it suggests that the participation of highly educated researchers can have a efficient effect on R&D. Individual education level directly affect innovation. And the third part is study on human capital and population movement. In the first paper, point to population movement as a cause of economic imbalance. And when considering long-term economic growth by considering the main factor of population movement between regions as human capital accumulation through education and wage difference due to technology and education in this study. The tendency of the population to consider it in one area was identified. And the second paper presents the effect of brand outflow to developed countries using a thematic general equilibrium model, and explain the phenomenon that the human capital of the inflow country increased, but the human capital in outflow country decreased due to the brand outflow. And about this paper's research model, firstly, I will tell you about the research materials. In order to analyze the effect of inflow of human capital on innovation, this study used data on number of patent application for 2011 to 2018, published by the Chinese intellectual property office and the number of mobile populations from 2010 to 2017 published by the Chinese Mobile Demographic Office, because the impact of migration on innovation is not evident with a year. The data from the patent application choose for 2 + 1 year indicate the innovation performance. Hence, the model is as following. I set a full model like this, and now I will explain the variables. First one, when PAT-IT +1 refers to the patent applications per 10,000 inhabitants in region I in period T +1. MIGIT is a vector that measures the characteristics of migration in region I in period T. High EDUIT is a vector that measures the number of highly educated migrants among total inflows, and the low educated is a vector that measures the number of low educated migrants among total inflows. And the control variables is IND, school, FID, and industries. The coefficient vector beta is of central interest in our analysis, and we assess the robustness of the estimates across different specifications. The dependent variable, about the dependent variable, in order to analyze innovation performance by type in consideration of regional characteristics, dependent variables were verified by invention patent application, utility patent application, and design patent application. Independent variable, considering the characters of migrants, the moving population was verified by distinguishing between highly educated and low educated. So about the research method, linear regression analysis assumed a normal distribution, a continuous probability distribution. So it is not easy to analyze the small variables of the discrete distribution. In addition, linear regression analysis has a problem of overestimating or underestimating negative predictions. In this case, the error of estimation may be reduced to the maximum by using the additional data model. In general, when the dependent variable says additional data, the analyzed method are Poisson regression and negative binomial regressions. In this paper, figure 4:4:1 is a histogram result of the number of patent applications and shows a squared right form compared to the normal distribution. Therefore, negative binomial regression was used in this study because the basic assumption that the variance and average for Python analysis execution should be same valid. So now let's I will tell you about the empirical result and the discussion. The table 1, look at the table 1. Table 1 shows negative binomial regression analysis result with a full sample. All of these variables do have expected signs and significant at least at the 1% level. As expected, the increase in the proportion of migrants has a positive effect on the innovation of destinations. In particular, highly educated migrants have significantly more product innovation at the 1% and 5% level, respectively. However, migrants with low education significantly, but at the 10% and 1% levels, inhibit innovations. And the second table, table 2, shows the analyzed results of utility patent. The utility patent, the first variable migrant is significant at a level of 5% and 10%, which has a positive effect on practical innovation, or same like a full sample analysis results. And the second one, highly educated migrants, also significant at 10% and 1% level. The higher the proportion of migrants with higher education, the higher the performance of technological innovation. Similarly, low educated migrants is also significant at the level of 5% and 1%, indicating that when the proportion of migrants with low educated is high, the regional research and development capacity will be inhibited. And the table 3 shows the analyzed results of a design patent. The migrant is significant at all levels, at the levels of 1%, but highly educated migrants have no effect on the increase in design payment. Design payments are related to factory packing and product design, reflecting primary and the ability to imitate development. And this innovation performance is not very dependent on highly educated migrants. And low educated migrants is also significant at a level of 10% and 1%. In the last paper and the last table is the analyzed result of invention patent. All of these variables to have expected sign and are significant at least at the 1% level. Highly educated migrants are significant at the 5% and 1% levels, and the higher and in the fourth model, the low educated immigrants are significant at the statistical level of 1%. And similarly, low skilled inflows inhibit the developed of technical innovation. And the last one, I will tell you about my conclusions. In this paper, we evaluated the impact of migrants with different academic background on different types of innovation performance. The results show that highly educated migrants promote the technical innovation when the proportion of migrants with a high degree of education increase. The innovation effect will increase. As the proportion of low educated migrants increase, the labor-intensive companies slow down their transformation and the company's ability to develop a new product is limited. And this paper demonstrates the effect of migration on innovation from a more microscopic point of view. Such research may be helpful in designing migration policy, which ensure the best economic and social outcomes. However, there is no categorization of migrants by their origin. Further studies can include factors that affect the performance of destination innovation in this source. So thank you for your attention. My presentation is finished. If you have any questions, I will glad to talk with you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. It was very interesting presentation.
Yeah.
I have some questions actually.
Yes.
So how many people did you look at for your data? How many people? You talked about the migrant population. So how many people did you?
So in here, I use the data from 2010 to 2018. So from 2010 to 2018, every year is almost 30 million.
I see. Okay.
1,000. Yeah.
Then so you are talking about the migrant population. So does it mean that the international the foreigners are entering to China to get jobs?
Yes, their age is from 18 to 45.
Okay. So how do you define high educated people?
But
and
they are
low educated people. How do you define them?
But they are not international migrants. They are just immigrants.
I see. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, they are not international.
No,
So
they are not international.
How do you define? How do you categorize highly educated and low educated? So, for instance, do they have high educated? Are they having PhD or master's degree? Do you think in the way?
According to the resources, they have the high educated, like a primary school students data and high school student data and university and like PhD data. So I just use that data from the Chinese population census.
So if they have PhD, they will be high educated, right?
Yes. Over university, they are all high educated.
Over university, okay.
Yes.
I see. Okay, now I understand. Thank you. Do we have any more questions from the floor?
No.
No, then okay. So thanks very much. It was a very interesting topic. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think we have finished our session. Three presentations were delivered in this session. So it was very good session regarding the many interesting topics. For instance, GVC and big data analysis and also innovation performance. Right. Let's finish today's session. Thanks very much.